Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Moving to Texas team here with another episode of the Real Advice podcast. I'm super excited for this week's guest and just to dig into all he does around branding and marketing in a pretty small area, but results in a ton of business. So I am excited to welcome the king of Rancho Mission Viejo in South Orange County, California, Dave Archuletta. What's going on, man?
Hey, Katie Day, how are you?
I'm well. I'm so good to see you.
It is great to see you.
I'm
Happy late Thanksgiving.
You as well. You as well. Dave and I mean, I guess we had met in person previously, but we got to spend a lot of time together in California earlier this year when I came out for an event that he was hosting. And it was so cool to kind of like see your neighborhood and your area, and I can see why you love your community so much because it was a lot of fun.
It was so cool that you came out and took a risk because you didn't know anything about me or what I was doing. And I remember you asking Jason, is this thing legit?
Jason's like, I think so. No, I'm kidding. No, and it was such a good time. So Dave threw a conference deemed Marketing Matters, and it was first of all in like the most epic location ever. It was his first real estate related event. And it was just a really good time. Everyone was there. Since it was a smaller, group of people, like you're actually able to collaborate and have conversation and stuff like that, which,
Yeah.
is different from the 6,000 person events we sometimes go to that, you're just, overwhelmed the entire week. So it was a great time, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about real estate
Yes.
and real estating. So for those that may not know you, who are you? How'd you get into real estate? And yeah.
I am Dave Archuletta. I am located out in South Orange County, California. It's a new area called Rancho Mission Viejo. We are not a city yet, but we one day will be. And I kind of consider us the last city of Orange County. We've got about 20,000 homes coming over the next 10, 15 years. We're only about 4,000 in right now. So I'm a farmer. I farm out here. This is 90% of my business. And we'll talk about how I farm.
Before I really got like deep into real estate, when people were like saying that they were a farmer, like obviously I'm in Texas, I was like, I thought they were referring to like farm and ranch, and I'm like, God, that sounds terrible, and everyone's talking about it. But I guess if like that's how you make money, then I guess I'm in. Like I'm here to make money. I'm here to make a living.
Is that kind of like you farm in the morning at like 5 a.m. and then you do real estate after?
I guess, I was like, well, shit, like if that's what I have to do, that's what I have to do. But so for those that may not, know what farming is, let's just kind of dig into like what is it and like what's your interpretation of farming and real estate and kind of
Yeah.
what are some of the broad strokes of what you do.
So, it's called geographic farming. I like to compare it to like corn on the cob. You know, it. How long do you think it takes, Katie, for a corn on the cob to actually become seed to corn on the cob?
Oh
Take a
man, I didn't know
guess.
I was gonna have
Questions.
quizzes today. I
Yeah.
would say 18 months. I'm gonna say something like crazy.
Okay.
18 months.
That's a good guess. It's
he says
it.
he says that like if you guys could see his face right now, if you're just watching, if you're just listening, he's like, yeah, that's a good guess. Like,
It's about 4 to 6 months
okay,
from once you plant a seed to actually getting a corn on the cob.
interesting.
And that's kind of how like farming is, geographic farming. You don't get results overnight.
Yeah,
So, people always complain, hey, I've been sending out mailers once a month, once a week, whatever, for 3 months and I got nothing.
yeah,
Well, you kind of just stop too soon. I mean, I think it takes about 9 months of consistent farming to get results. And from there, it just builds and momentum just keeps building. So for me, geographic farming means I'm sending out EDDM mailers to my entire area. I started small, and as I grew and I grew and I grew, I'd send out more. And
yeah.
now I hit the whole entire city, well, community, because we're not a city.
Community. Yeah,
So it goes to 4,900 homes, but it's got my face on it. It's got all my listings, my family on the back, because that's part of my brand
yeah,
is community, bringing people together, kids. So I make sure I highlight those things because that's what represents me.
Who you are.
So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a huge part too. Like if someone doesn't already follow you on social media, like just, in getting to know you more personally, right? And then also on social, like
Hmm.
those are pillars of your social media content as well.
Yeah.
So, you touched on, mailers and EDDM, the every door direct mail, great way to be able to canvas an area or, a mail route, at a slightly lower cost than like, hey, let me, do this card and hand stamp it and all
Yeah.
that. What are some other ways that you've kind of dug in deep with your community, right? Because, like, I mean, I know it's not just postcards. Like, you can't just send out postcards and be like, "Why haven't I
Totally.
sold a house from this?" Right? What
Yeah.
else have you done?
Yeah. What's one thing that's really great about EDDM is that a lot of people don't realize you could do it on your own.
Yeah.
Um, I do it all by myself, honestly. I package them. I rubber band the bundles of 100.
Yep. Yep.
It takes me an hour to do it, but it saves me about 7 business days from once it gets in my hand to people. So I was doing it outside with someone else, and it would take about 14 days for it to get to homes. But
Yeah.
by that time, I already sold everything. So
Yeah.
I just learned how to do it by myself, and it's actually almost half the cost. So
Well,
there's a little
speaking of
trick for you.
speaking of lowering the cost, I mean, don't you have 5 children? Like, couldn't you get some child labor going there? I mean,
Every time I try to get my kids involved, it turns bad.
yeah.
They throw things and make a mess. We
You're
have
like,
5 kids, and it's crazy.
the postcards are all crumpled and like it's like packs of like 12. You're like, I said 100.
Yeah, they get the rubber bands, like, look, Daddy, look what I made.
It's arts and crafts time. They've drawn a mustache on you and
Yeah.
like, funny eyebrows and stuff. All right. Yeah. That might not be the best idea, but I was just trying to think outside of the box, as far as like ways for you to save some money, and be more efficient with your time. But, so, what else, I think just in knowing you, I know that events are big. I know that, you've gone real deep in your community as far as getting involved, right? And
Yeah.
just like being present. What are some other things that are like business generators for you and your farm?
Yeah, I mean, I think we hear, Tom say it, Jason say it. I see you everywhere. That's kind of what I've been doing out here.
Yeah.
So I started a softball club out here that really kind of just took off. I thought 10, 20 people would sign up and we'd play on Tuesday nights, and 200 people signed up, and I wasn't sure what to do because
Yeah.
I've never ran a softball league, and that's what it turned into. So pulling in people that have played in leagues and that live in this area, grabbing their advice, getting
Yeah.
them involved for the greater good has really paid off for my business. And it wasn't something I tried to force; it just kind of happened
Yeah.
and organically. And this is one of my kids.
What's up?
uh, the flu season's around here, so I've got 3 kids today at the house.
That are sick.
Yeah, good
Always fun.
times.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lily.
I like the shadow puppets happening behind you. Thinking on your feet, another great thing about, you multitasking. I love it. So yeah, no, I see you everywhere. I remember when you told me this story about the softball, you're like, yeah, I just like was looking for something to do with my buddies to get out of the house one night a week. Like, my
Yeah.
wife had her thing. I wanted my thing. And, you're like, so I was just hoping to like play a game of softball once a week and just like, maybe have a beer and go home. And then like
Yeah.
200 people sign up. You're like, oh, this is going to be way bigger than I expected. But that's crazy. Like, I mean, obviously there's probably people that are coming in from like, maybe not all from Rancho Mission Viejo, but like, I mean, to have that many people sign up for something, like
Yeah.
clearly that was a need, right? And so if
Yeah.
you can find that in your own community, I think that's a great opportunity,
Mhm.
to be able to build community.
It's been a blessing, and watching people get connected with other people
Yeah.
is what the payoff is for me. A lot of people moved here during COVID, and they didn't know anyone, and we were locked up for a long time.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see people, because I orchestrated all the teams based on the community they live in and the street they lived on. So they all played with neighbors, and
That's
they
cool.
didn't know that until probably the 3rd weekend. So where do you live?
And they tell you the same street that you live on, they're like, oh
Yeah.
shit.
So it was really cool, because then I'd be driving around the city or community and putting up open house signs. I see people playing softball with their kids. and people on their team.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool that I got to be a part of that.
Well, and
So that's
so
life changing, relationships. So
yeah. And so open house signs, do y'all do a lot of open houses?
okay, so I probably average 4 open houses on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. Um, this whole year I've done that.
Casual.
Yeah,
Casual. 8, so you're saying 8 open houses a weekend.
yeah, it's crazy.
Most agents don't even do 8 open houses in a month.
I mean, I don't really have a choice. There was a season where it was just me, and I would do 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday,
Okay.
and I would stagger them, so I'd have 2 to 3 hours at each one.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just like get up at 8, put up 100 signs, go home and change, and get ready for open house, and then work both of them, and then pick up all the signs, and then work on offers. So it was a long day.
I just love how casual you are about saying that you're doing 8 open houses in a weekend. Like I'm being completely serious. Like, I mean, most agents won't do 8 open houses in a month, right? And like you're doing 8 in a weekend.
I-
So yeah, 100 open house signs. What else are you doing other than open house signs to prep for these open houses?
Um, well, another key element to the open houses is really hanging up signs. I know a lot of people like to just have someone else do it for them, but I see it as an opportunity for people to say hi to. I mean, I wave at every single person that drives by, and I mean, there's cars driving by nonstop in our area,
Yeah.
and people always laugh like, "Why do you always wave at people?" And I don't know. It's just been my habit to always just wave,
Yeah.
and people will wave back. And it's funny. One of my neighbors actually, he said, "You know what? What really sold us on this neighborhood was everyone was so nice. There was a guy that waved at us, and he didn't even know us." And I was like, "Was he in like a black running outfit?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "That
Like,
was
that
me."
was me. Yeah.
So like
That's
it's actually one of my core values, be welcoming.
yeah.
Because I don't know, it does speak volumes to people. It makes you stand out, makes people feel welcomed in the area. So
No, I'd completely agree. And so, okay, you put out 100 open house signs. I mean, is that enough to then get people through the door? Because I mean, there's just so many in. Because how big? First of all, let's rewind a little bit. How big is RMV? Like, what's the square mileage ish?
we've got about 4,900 homes. So it's a good size.
Yeah.
I mean to hang up those signs, it takes me over an hour. You
Well,
know,
and I mean, if
it's
you weren't waving at everyone, it would probably only take you 30 minutes. But you only have one hand. You can't put a sign in the ground with one hand.
You know,
Um,
it's so funny because like ever since softball, people will roll down their window, Dave, and
yeah,
to me, like that's so fun. I love that. So that's why I put my open house signs because it's another opportunity for people to see my face, see me. Um, it also shows people, hey, I'm willing to work hard and I grind and I put in the hours. Um, so I don't know. There's just more to it than just putting up signs.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, if it's part of like you building your brand, I think, that makes complete sense, right?
yeah.
So I can completely understand where you're coming from on that. But like what do y'all do any other marketing for it? Or is it just like, hey, I have 100
Yeah.
signs in a 5 mile radius, 3 mile radius, whatever. What else are some of the things that y'all do to promote your open houses?
So I've got social media stuff on Insta that I'm always running.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's only been about a year that I've been doing Instagram, which is unfortunate, but finally I'm kind of getting on it. So I do reels. I don't know. I probably average 7,000 views on each reel for my listings, which is pretty cool
Yeah,
because
especially
there's
for a
really
listing, because I mean, most of the time people are like, oh, it's a house, cool. So I mean, that's good.
yeah. So like I usually do 2 reels. One is always me walking through the house, really fast,
Yeah.
and it seems like a lot of people like that. I mean, I
Yeah,
had
they're
one
fun.
that had like 20,000 views, and it's just me walking through the house and waving. Come
Was
on.
it a super sexy house though?
No, it was like a little condo. Come on.
Well, never mind then. I don't know.
I
I
know.
guess it was just you and your glowing personality. That must
I
have
was
been it.
shocked too. So I always do that one because that one's easy to do, and then I
Yeah.
have one where I have a videographer. Um, I intro it, and then he does his thing, and
The more high production quality
yeah,
type. Yeah.
and I just try to kind of coach him on what I'm looking for, and I like things looking cool and modern and clean. So I feel like we got a good system now to where he knows what I like, and
Yeah.
you know,
Isn't that nice?
it
I love
is.
that when you have like that rapport where it's like, hey, this is my vision, and then they just like execute.
Yeah,
Um, well,
because
and
it does take
speaking,
time, right? It takes time for each person to get to know each other and what you're
yeah.
looking for, and I think it's a growing process for both sides, right?
Oh, 100%. And so with that being said, what did you do before you got into real estate?
I was a musician and I played in bands and did all that fun stuff. And then I did that for, man, for probably 10, 15 years. I didn't have a real job. I played in bands and I did anything I could to not have a real job because I felt like if I did anything outside of music, it would just distract me and not let me be in my career, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So did that, produced bands, recorded bands, and then I went back to school and I said, you know what? I'm either going to die if I keep doing this because it was just getting out of control. So I went back to school, got a marketing degree and a business management degree,
Okay.
and not sure what I was going to do. I just said, you know what? I want to make money and I want to be able to provide for a family.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And then I ended up getting a job at a church and doing the music at the church. And I didn't make money, but I got to help a lot of people. And
Yeah.
and then my wife found out we're having our fifth kid, and that's kind of when I got my license. She's been in the industry for almost 14 years, and I could see how she was stressed, and trying to juggle all the kids and you know work in this industry is a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
So I said, let me get my license, see if I'm good at it, see if I like it, and I'll help. And then it turned out I really liked it and I was really good at it. And so here we are.
Yeah. Well, and so you haven't been in the industry that long, and I feel like, y'all's business has exploded,
Hmm.
over the past, what, 3 years that you've been in the business now?
Yeah, this will be my third year in January.
Which I
So
think is crazy.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, we went from 12 million in sales to 45, 50, and now I'm at 80 this year,
yeah.
um, which is crazy. I mean, I don't know. When you're filling out your goals for the previous year, you never think like, oh wow, that's impossible. It's like
Yeah.
because like in a loom, you pull down, how many sellers, how many buyers, break it down by your lead source, and I'm like, oh, I could get that, I could get that, and then I add it all up, and I go, oh wow, that's
It's a
a
big
lot.
number. Yeah.
That's impossible.
And then you just keep
And
hitting them. So you just gotta
I
keep
hit it this year. I'm just like, wow. So it's pretty cool.
just gotta keep adding an extra 0 to your goals? Um,
Yeah.
well, okay, so you've been in real estate for 3 years. You've done a ton as far as farming and digging deep in your local community, doing open houses and just continuing to be like the face, be the person that's out there, putting out your
Hmm.
signs, building this brand and like you are the brand. I know another big thing that you do in the community is like events and client events and stuff like that, like spotlighting and highlighting and showcasing local businesses. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit more about that.
Okay. So any event I ever do, I always try to have underlying value to that event. So softball, the whole thing was I'm going to create something where people could meet people and feel part of a team, be a part of something.
Yeah.
So that's why I really wanted those teams to be orchestrated by the community they live in. So those connections are built and then they go out and do life together. And I don't have to be a part of that, but I'll be a part of that conversation all the
Yeah.
time because I'm the one that put that together. I'm there every single Tuesday night with them from 6 to 10. So that's just another way for me to put my face in front of them. And let's see, I also do a wine tasting event. That's once a month. That's pretty cool because I get 4 hours once a month with about 80 to 90 people that live only in my farm.
Nice.
And, we're at a wine bar in our city, in downtown San Juan. It's actually right by where the conference was. We're on the second level.
Oh, nice.
It's our own room, so it's super cool. And the Five Vines Wine Bar is super got a lot of character, and they're super nice. They gave us a great deal for all of us to just kind of meet there.
Yeah.
And in return, I help feed them business and do other events there and things. But what's cool is the last one we did, we had about 20 people that never been to it, and they just moved into the area.
That's
right?
cool.
And they didn't know anyone. So what a cool opportunity for me to help connect some dots. So,
Yeah.
oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in Trellis. Oh, you got to go meet, Steve over here. He lives in Trellis.
Yeah.
Where's
Well,
Trellis? That's your street.
that's awesome. I mean, and that's just like being that connector, right?
Yeah.
To people in the community, I think is so cool, and just being able to like give people that sense of community, right?
hmm
And so then, when real estate comes up, hopefully, you're the one they're thinking of, because you're in their mailbox. How often do y'all mail? Is it
I've been doing
monthly
every
or
2 weeks.
okay?
Sometimes it's once a month, but the goal is every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I, I'm strategic about it. I don't just send it out. So like I'll mail it out on a Wednesday or a Thursday, so they get it on Thursday, Friday, and then they'll see my open house signs on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And they'll see me putting them out, tearing them down. So it's just touch points, right?
Yeah.
So as many of those as that I can, that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's awesome. Anything else that we're leaving out as far as like community involvement, or like, getting involved,
That's
or
a great
farming pillars
question.
or anything like that like we're not touching on, or we haven't touched on?
A new thing I've been trying is YouTube ads.
Okay.
And I'm not doing them to gain leads. I just do them for brand awareness.
Yeah.
Just putting my face out there. And what's crazy is that I spent $100 and got like 30,000 views.
Yeah.
And I had a video that was like 14 seconds or whatever, right? So I made it a non-skippable ad, and I got 30,000 views for $100.
Yeah.
And then people would, pull me out of the crowd and say, "Hey, I saw you on my TV
During a
and
commercial. Yeah.
how cool is that?" Like, Will always talks about that. Dude, you got to start running YouTube ads. I'm telling you. And he does these market updates that are 3 minutes long, and 90% of the people are watching all 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was my first beta test, and it's just awesome to see how much people recognized my face when they saw me outside. So it was just kind of another pillar on top of all those others that kind of just solidifies the trust, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's like, the I see you everywhere then truly becomes that, right? If it's not only they're seeing you in person, not only do they drive by the softball field, not only do they, maybe go to a wine event here or there, they get your mailer, and now they're seeing you on their TV and on their phone and on their computer and all these other things. So, that's just so many different ways to be like basically omnipresent, right? Like everywhere at all times.
Yeah, and it's so cost effective. I mean, if you're a new agent, you should just be running YouTube ads like crazy and just use it for brand awareness and put your face on it.
Yeah.
You
I like it. What other advice, if I were a brand new agent today, just got licensed, just hung my license, with a brokerage or whatever, what would be your advice to me, day one, and I'm brand new and green?
Brand new. I think having some realistic goals is a key thing, because it keeps you focused throughout the year. And run those goals through someone at your office, someone that's experienced, because they'll be able to tell you what's realistic based on what your goal is. So like, every agent comes in, I just want to make a ton of money, blah, blah, blah. Well, we know that's not true, right? Not everyone has great success, because a lot of people just leave it up to chance, right? They just wait for the phone to ring, and that never happens. So what I've been trying to do with my agents is let's talk about your goals for the year, and then let's have realistic goals, and then let's push it just above where you're comfortable, because I want you to push for the stars, So like, if I had a new agent, I'd say, I think you could do at least 8 deals this year, and then they'll say, well, how, and then I'm going to show them how. I'm
Yeah.
going to say, look at your phone. Like Tom always says, 10% of the people on your phone are either going to buy or they're going to sell.
Yeah.
Who do you know on that phone that we can call today? Who can we just reach out to and tell them how excited you are about your career change?
Yeah.
There's 1 or 2 deals. Easy, right? Open houses, come and work my open houses. I can't work them all,
Well, yeah, because you've got 8 of them.
Yeah. So come work some of my open houses. And yeah, some days are going to be super busy and some days you're going to have 2 or 3 people through. Maybe you'll have 10. I don't know. But be there and have the opportunity to, meet some buyers, meet some neighbors as they're walking through. I don't know. I'm trying other ads right now to help feed some of my agents. Those are another avenues that I could help them close at least 1 deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if you could break it down, it's not so overwhelming, right? Because I think when you're a new agent, you kind of get overwhelmed. Like, how am I going to get this? How am I going to do that? Well, I think if we can start with the end goal in mind and work back from that, I think it really helps paint a picture for people. That's why I think Tom Ferry's, business plan is so good, right?
Yeah.
The first time I ever filled it out, I was like, this is a waste of time, And then after, I was like, oh, this is super helpful. And now I'm like, I go by that all the time. And then I import it into my computer and I follow it.
Yeah.
Because it really does keep me accountable. It keeps me consistent. And it helps me see, what am I doing that's right? And what do I need to do that's not, what should I change that's not working?
Well, and
Right.
so much of, real estate and so much of business planning is math, right? So it's like, how
Yeah.
much money do you want to make? What's the average sales price of a property in your market,
Totally.
right? How many buyers, how many sellers, average commission, right?
Mhm.
And then just working it backwards from there
Yeah.
of, as you get better at having these conversations, what does that, look like financially for you, right? Like,
Because nobody
and
does that,
yeah,
right?
just like, I want to make $100,000. I want to make $500,000. I
Yeah.
don't know.
I
Just throw
had
a
an
number out
agent
there.
that said, I want to make 50,000. And I said, okay, that's awesome. We're going to make that in a month or 2. So let's have a bigger goal here.
They're like, wait, what?
Because I think I'm just kind of stepping into this new role as a team leader. All
Yeah.
right. I have 7 agents now. I'll have 10 by the end of the year.
Let's go, man. That's awesome.
I know. I'm just in awe that many people want to join my team. So I'm extremely grateful.
No, that's awesome. Congratulations, dude. You're crushing it. That's awesome.
So, I really hope to inspire them and give them value and tools of hey, here's what I was doing when I first started.
Yeah.
And here was my growth. Here's where I would have did something different.
Yeah.
I think when you're new, you don't have any expectations of what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing and a curse, right? Like my wife would always say, why do you want to do that? That's a waste of time. Do this because this is what worked. But I'm very ideas, visionary kind of person, A to Z, where she's very A, B, C, D, right?
Yeah.
So we're a good balance because she kind of holds me back a little bit from going crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like to help people see things that they can't see for themselves and helping them break it down into steps to where they can attain things.
Oh, that's the biggest part of when being a team leader and
Mhm.
leading people and helping them with their goals and stuff like that is the person that says they want to make 50 grand a year, they want to make, more than they made at their job or whatever. And it's
Yeah,
showing them what can be in real estate. I think it's just really cool.
totally.
Yeah.
So that would be one thing I would tell people to do if you're a new agent. The other thing is go to your office, ask your manager, who are the top 3 agents in our office?
Yeah.
And go to each 3 of those people and say, hey, I would love to take you to lunch and just pick your brain and teach me something, because you got to be teachable. If you're not teachable, you probably shouldn't be in this business because it's so competitive. It's hard. It's not easy. No, you're giving up your weekends. You're giving up 5 to 10 p.m. every night, because that happens all the time.
Yeah.
But take those agents out to lunch and pick their brains. And I guarantee you those agents would love to do that. Most agents love talking about themselves, you know? So it'll be the best $50 you spend because you'll gain so much knowledge. And then you'll also have someone in your corner to kind of help you in that process. So,
No, I think that those are both really good ideas. And I think having a good foundation at the beginning of your business is always so important.
yeah.
So I like it.
And join masterminds.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like with YouTube and masterminds, you have no excuses anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
There's so much knowledge out there to be learned.
and it's free, right? Like, it doesn't cost us anything. You just go on YouTube and you can learn how to do anything you want.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know. When people say, oh, the market, blah, 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 like, no, it's just you're not willing to sacrifice for it.
Yeah.
Right.
The choose your hard.
Yeah.
I like that. All right. Question for you. If you could recommend like a book to someone to read, do you have
Ooh.
like a book or two that like you're like, oh, this is like the book you have to read when you're, a real estate agent?
I'll share my book idea if you share one of your books.
Sure. I've got a bunch
What are you
behind me
reading
back
right
there.
now? And I'll tell you what I'm reading.
I'm actually not reading anything right now, if I'm being completely honest. I've got 4 or 5 books on my nightstand. I've got like Ed Milet's Power of One or Power of One More.
Yeah, yeah.
The Ed Milet book. Got that. So that's the one I've been working on for a while. I've got a Seth Godin book on my nightstand as well. But I haven't been reading a ton lately. So
All right. So
what about you?
let's see. I got this one right here that I'm reading.
Oh, is that Phil Jones?
Yeah. I just started it. I think Phil Jones is such a smart dude. Like, buy all his books.
Yeah.
You know, like I kind of just want to keep his books to myself because they're that good.
Yeah.
You know, exactly what to say. It's got to be one of the best books for an agent. Like,
Yeah.
You're a new agent, go buy that book and buy 10 to give away to other agents in your office.
I just bought a ton from he had like a Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend sale.
Oh,
And so I just bought a bunch. But you can buy them direct from their website if you're buying more than 10 books at a discount off of like
okay.
Amazon. So, as you're growing this team of agents,
Yeah.
it would probably be a good idea to hop on there and buy them in bulk. But yeah, I bought, I think basically like 50.
That's awesome.
So,
what I like about that book is that you could take one, he has like his phrases or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could take one of those a day and just try to put it into a conversation.
Yeah.
10 times in that day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's like gold. It's such good stuff.
Yeah, we've been using it a ton, just with our team training and like role
Mhm.
play and stuff like that of like working through those different phrases. And it's funny, like when you say that, because it's like then like I hear it over and over again from the team, like,
Yeah.
help me understand, and I'm like, that's not even the right situation to use it. I appreciate you using it, but like, you're not asking a question right now. So no, I love that. I love Phil Jones. I just watched a webinar with him. So shout out to old Tom Ferry and Phil Jones for that. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you with one last question. Hard hitting. All right. I hope you're ready. If it were your last meal on earth, what would you be eating?
Oh my gosh. This isn't hard. This is easy. Shakey's Pizza. I love it.
Okay. Is that a place that's in your area, or where is that?
Yeah, they're all kind of shutting down.
Oh no.
There's only two left that I know of. And I went there actually last night. And it's like a 45-minute drive. That's how.
Oh, it's not even close to you.
It's not even close. But I love pizza. I could literally eat pizza every day.
Okay.
So I drive to Shakey's Pizza all the way in Anaheim, which is like by Disneyland.
Yeah.
It's 45 minutes for me. And I took the kids, and we love it. So that would be my meal.
All right.
I know it's not healthy. I'm sorry.
I mean, if it's your last meal, you can eat whatever you want. That's
What would your meal be?
Mine would be a ribeye and some sushi.
Nice.
Steak and sushi are my two
Do you have a restaurant that you like?
I've got a lot of restaurants that I like. I mean, I've got a friend that's coming into Houston this weekend, and she texts me. She's like, "What? She's like, I want food recommendations." I'm like, "Well, what are you looking for?" She's like, "Any good food." And I'm like, "All right, sushi, Mexican, barbecue, steak. Like, here you go, here you go." So I'm not too picky, but like the steak would be a ribeye, and then just really good sushi. So, yeah. All
Good
right.
stuff.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on. If someone doesn't already follow you on social media, what's the best place or where's the best place for them to hop on and connect with you?
Yeah, follow me at Instagram, _Archuletta_team.
Awesome.
There you'll get the link in bio. You can get to our website, thearchulettateam.com, and come say hi.
Awesome. You may see Dave waving at you in a community near you one day. Dave, I appreciate you so much. I love seeing all of your stuff online, hearing about, all of your real estate success and your family and the fun things you're doing out there in South Orange County. But thank you
Yay.
so much for your time, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, Kitty Day. Have a great week.
You too.